Morning.
Good morning.
All right, we got a good crew
Good
today.
morning.
Charleston's here, Pam's here, Brooke is here. Don, are you back in town?
I am.
All right, welcome back.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
I was about to say that.
Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I want you to know I did a big report for Aubrey. I finally finished it yesterday. And since this productivity coaching program started, we have been involved in 101 closings for a little over about $22.5 million in volume. So,
Wow.
you know, we've talked about being the largest team at the office. We absolutely are. Okay, 101 closings since first or so week in March, $22.6 million in sales volume. Okay, so congratulations to you guys. I know you're working hard. I'm super proud to be in business together. Okay, let's talk about Bold for a minute. Okay, the idea behind doing Bold on the first Wednesday of each month, typically it's earlier in the month than the 7th, but the first Wednesday in the month is an idea for you guys to kind of jumpstart your month, right? We all know we're supposed to have a certain number of appointments and a certain number of contacts and database ads and all that kind of stuff. Wouldn't it be great if we can just like kill it on one day, and then the rest of our, you know, all of our month's appointments are like kind of figured out, and you know, we don't feel like we're behind all month. And when the 15th of the month comes out and you say, oh my gosh, it's halfway through the month, am I on track? You say, well, of course I'm on track, because I really pushed it one day with my group to make sure that I've set enough appointments. Generally, I can almost set all the appointments I need all for the whole month on this day. Okay, I've got my assistant, she's texting all day, I'm making calls all day, and we're having a lot of fun and we're meeting a lot of people. Okay, so what I want you to not hear is that if you don't get 100, you're some kind of failure or something like that. Okay, we even talked about rebranding it to be like the Bold 50 or something, right? What I want you guys to do today is to make a commitment to do more lead generating than you're used to doing. Okay, so if your standard is 15 contacts a day, push for 25. If your standard is 25, push for 50, right? Just do more than you're used to doing. What I want you to finish the day with is this attitude that basically says, that wasn't so bad, right? I made 64 contacts and booked 2 appointments and added 17 people to my database. And hell, I'm still alive. And I have an appointment tomorrow with a future buyer that I never thought I would have, right? So I want there to be some, obviously some wins. And by the way, a win would just be participating and not bailing at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. There's no judgment here. If you're not in the room, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that something's wrong with your computer or your cell phone or your iPad, and you're just pounding the phones not on camera, okay? Wink, wink. However, we will keep this room open all day. What I'd like for you to do when we're done at 9 is if you want to keep your screen on, or your camera on, obviously that'd be fine. I'll probably have my camera on all day. Turn off your, today's a great morning. We got Ebony, we got Tevin. Welcome, you guys. You turn off your sound, right? And then you start generating leads, okay? Now, what I want you guys to do is to get some practice with our daily success list tool, okay? Okay, the daily success list tool is this one right here. Okay, this is, and it's not really built for a Bold 100, but you're basically writing down the names of all the people you speak to today, right? And any promises that you make them, okay? Now, Bold the day is not meant to be, you know, I make a contact and then I go and distract myself and spend 10 minutes putting it into command and then try to have the same energy going back to the phone. I want you to make a list of all the clerical things that you need to do and do them outside of your your calling time. Okay. I made this offer last time and I'll make it again this time. I can't promise you how fast it will happen, but if you create a legible list of all of the things that you want done, from importing names and information, tagging people into your database, any of that kind of thing, you send that to me, I'll send it to my assistant, we'll get it done for you for free. Okay? That is generally, I shouldn't say generally, that is absolutely not a free service. Okay? But I will offer that to you for free today. Fair? Okay. It's got to be legible. Just send it over. We'll get it knocked out for you. Okay. So the goal today is we want to track as much as we can. Maybe even how many calls you make. Because again, we got to figure out how many calls do I have to make and how long is it going to take me in order to get a certain number of contacts so that we can plan our day accordingly. Okay. So absolutely want to track the, what a day, man, we should do Bold 100 every day. We want to track all the people that we've chatted with and all of the promises that we've made, make sure that stuff is executed on afterwards. Okay. Now, the goal of today is to get data. Well, first of all, we want to come from contribution and come from curiosity and care. Okay. We want to, if we're calling people we know, we can use the agent pivot scripts, which are basically talking about how are you, how's the family, you know, you can talk about how their work is or whether they're working from home or the kids doing virtual school. Have you taken any vacations lately? Do you have any real estate goals for next year, right? How's your business? Hey, I'm talking to people all day long, buyers and sellers all day long, meaning I work every day, right? And there's a really good chance that I might come across somebody that could be a great fit for your business. If I was on the phone with somebody, what kind of questions should I ask them to see if I can connect you guys, right? You're offering to be more or less a concierge or a middleman for a bunch of relationships and setting people up with relationships that will help each other, right? So, and in the meantime, if you ask enough questions about people's life and business, guess what they're going to do? They're going to ask you some questions. Now, the answer is, yeah, real estate's super, super busy. I'm busy. I'm real busy. You know what that means? I'm probably too busy to help you, right? Which we do not want to say. Clear? So another way of saying that is saying, yeah, you know, I'm having a lot of fun. You know, I'm spending time with a lot of great buyers and sellers. I'm having a lot of fun. Do you have any goals for next year that I should be aware of? Is there anything I can do right now to help you with that, you know, with the planning, right? Or with the information gathering, right? We got to be real careful with our words. We don't want them to think that, oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I'm slammed. I haven't had dinner with my family in 2 weeks. Well, shit, I guess I'll go find a different agent that's got a little bit more time for me. See what I'm saying? So be very careful with how you discuss that. We're going to track contacts for sure today. That's the main one. Okay. Let's remind ourselves what a contact is. A contact is a two-way exchange, either in person, over Zoom, over the phone, or any social media program that is two-way. Okay, got to be two-way, and text would count as well. Okay. If you have earned the right to speak about real estate, speak about real estate. Okay, a good way to introduce real estate outside of asking them about their work and then you getting asked the same question is to say, you know, I'm reaching out to my database to check in to see what kind of goals you have for 2020, or I'm sorry, 2021 with respect to real estate, right? If they're a buyer, there has never been a better time in terms of affordability. The rates are historic lows. If they are potentially a seller, if they own a home, some of the key takeaways now are, hey, you might get more for your home than you would in the foreseeable future if you sell right now. So if you're thinking about selling in 6 months or 2 years, it may actually be in your best interest to consider selling now. Would you like to meet for half an hour over Zoom to discuss that? Right? And if they're perfectly happy in their home, the next question should be, have you refinanced in the last month? Right? If they refinanced 3 months ago, they could probably refinance now and get a better rate. Right? So they're either going to sell it or refinance it. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. At the minimum.
Hey, Bill,
Yes, ma'am.
where's the best place to get the stats like that was talked about in the meeting? Like if somebody asks us how is real estate, you say, oh, it's good. It's this many listings. It's, like those statistical things.
All right, great. Thank you for asking that. I'm going to look it up right now, and I'm going to just tell it to you guys so that you can jot these numbers down. Okay?
Can you put it in the chat? Because I'm driving.
Yeah.
Or the WhatsApp.
Yes. I'm gonna yell them out, and if somebody could, everyone jot them down, and at the end we'll put it in the chat for you. Okay.
Bill,
In the
Bill,
last.
didn't Melody also sent out the slides used in the team meeting?
That is true. That is true. You could certainly use that. That information is, a couple days old or whatever. You don't need to like spit out every statistic available. You just got to give them one or two statistics that sound really cool so they know you know what you're doing, right? So for example, in the last 24 hours, there's been 322 new listings in Metro Atlanta. Would you be surprised to know that there's 322 new listings just in the last 24 hours? Wow.
Where are you finding that, Bill?
Yeah, where are you getting that from?
That is on the Market Watch widget on FMLS.
Okay.
So 322 new listings in the last 24 hours. 247 homes have gone under contract in the last 24 hours. And 528 properties have closed in the last 24 hours. Okay. I'll give you one more grouping. Let's look at the same data for 7 days, the last 7 days. There's been 1,935 new listings, 1935 new listings. Okay, 1,209 properties have gone under contract, and 2,257 homes have closed. If somebody could kindly put those numbers in the chat, that would be fantastic. Okay, so if they say, how's the market? Say, hey, the market is, we're having so much fun. The market is fantastic for both buyers and sellers now, interestingly enough. And, I was just looking at the numbers this morning, meaning I study the market all day, and I'm a trained professional. I take this super seriously, right? There's been 528 units that have closed in the last 24 hours. That's not even the number I just gave you, is it? What was the number I just gave you?
And that's only the ones that were reported to FMLS.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what was the number I gave you earlier?
322,
Are you talking about for 24 hours or a week?
The 24 hours for closed units.
528.
Well,
Damn, there's been 8 units in the last 10 seconds.
I have 2
Y'all
that
see
I
that?
closed yesterday that are not reported there. So,
Well, turn in your paperwork then.
yeah, they're not on FMLS.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love it when they're
There's
not
also
on
some
FMLS.
that went straight to pending rather than active under contract. So these numbers are, if anything, they're on the low side of what the true numbers are. Okay. Was that helpful, Markia? Okay.
Bill, where did you say in
So
MLS the widget was? What was it titled?
it's called Market Watch. It looks like this. Can y'all see that?
It's on FMLS before you go into Matrix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over on the left side. And you can
Okay.
change it. You can change it to 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days.
Yeah, and you can also customize it so it's like, hey, what's going on in Dunwoody over the last, 3 days or something. Right?
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So contacts is any two-way exchange. Social media accounts, Direct messages count, right? It's got to be 2 ways though, okay? And then anybody that is not in your database that you have a great conversation with today, put them into your database. And I'm going to encourage you to, anyone that you speak to that you know, see if there is a new piece of data that you can extract from that conversation that will help you in serving that person in the future. So maybe it's their home address so that you can get them on a neighborhood nurture. Maybe it is make sure their email address is correct. Maybe it is jotting down their husband's name or wife's name or child's name, or where they like to vacation or what type of work they do now, right? Any new information. The purpose of every call is either to get data or to update data. Does that make sense? Okay, who has some questions? Okay, guys, if we make more calls than we are used to making, or we have more exchanges, 2 things are going to happen. One is you're going to get rejected more than you're used to getting rejected. Okay, and the other is you're going to have more great conversations with people than you're used to having. So please understand that today is going to maybe feel like a bit of an emotional roller coaster. That is normal, right? When we do more work, we have more, more stuff happens, right? So understand that at the end of today, the only thing that's going to happen is that you're going to have more people in your database, okay? You're going to have more confidence when you get on the telephone, and you're going to increase the number of people that know that you're in real estate, okay? And a couple of rejections here and there, that's just part of the process, okay?
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there a tool, like if you wanted to do some expired, that you can actually find their phone number so that you can give them a call?
Yeah. So let's actually take a minute to go over that real fast, because I feel like I'm getting that question more than I should. So we have access to 2 systems, two technology systems that would normally cost you money if you were to buy them independently. Okay, the first one is called Vulcan 7, VULCAN, the number 7.com. Vulcan 7 is, in our opinion, the premier source for expired for sale by owner and withdrawn listings. Okay, that is a service that costs about $350 a month. We pay for that for productivity coaching clients for free, or we pay for it for you, I should say. And that data updates every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. Can you spell it
again for me? I just parked.
Are you still driving?
No, I'm parked now.
Just kidding. VULCAN and the number 7.com, Vulcan7.com. The username is Roswell PC, all lowercase letters. The password is consultants, ! All lowercase letters. Okay. You can log on to that anytime you want. The idea is you take that, the really site is to extract the data, and then you can either put it into a dialing system or hand dial it, okay? And you can go onto the site as frequently as you want. There's some videos on best practices, some scripts, all kinds of stuff on that website, Vulcan7.com.
Can you repeat the login and password again, Bill?
Yes, it's all lowercase letters. The username is Roswell PC, Productivity Coaching, Roswell PC. And the password is consultants with an exclamation point.
And that's consultants with an S?
Yes, with an S, exclamation point. Okay.
And are those all lowercase?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. Okay, so please don't spend all day trying to master the website. Today is for activity, okay? Next, we have Cole Resource Realty. That is a website that is it's essentially an online directory. Okay, it's really good for what we call circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is, let's say you have an address here and it's a new listing, let's say, and you want a list of the 1,500 people that live closest to that property so that you can let them know you just have it just listed, just pending, just sold, right? Or maybe you want to invite them to an open house, right? Or you just straight up want to call them and say, who do you know that wants to buy or sell real estate that I can help today, right? It's just their name and phone number, and of course their address. Okay.
Can you narrow down to a specific neighborhood on that?
Possibly. It's a little bit more challenging just because we'd have to go, like my assistant would have to go in and try to figure out what streets are in the neighborhood and that kind of thing. So it's a good bit more confusing. But yeah, we could probably figure that out.
Okay, so it's
another
not
way to
just
do it
a
is just to
setting.
take it all, and then you go look up, hey, High Point Trail is in this neighborhood, and High Point Way is in this neighborhood, and High Point Court is in this neighborhood, and you sort the data and you just extract that out. So it's generally a radius search. So you'd say, hey, I want 1 mile or 2 miles or something like that. So that list, what we've learned is that they're a lot tighter about like a bunch of people logging in with different IP addresses, meaning we can't just share the username and password or we'll get busted in like a day with like 50 different people logging into the system. They'll be like, whoop, you're sharing the account. You can't do that, right? So if you ever want a list like that, just send me an email with the property address that you want to be the center of that search, and we will have that list sent back to you right away. My assistant generally works from 8 in the morning to lunchtime, to 12 o'clock, and then 8 at night to midnight. So if you can get it to me before 12 o'clock, we'll have it for you before lunch. If you get it to me anytime after lunch, you'll get it that night. Okay? So that goes for at any time. If you ever want a list like that, just send me the address. We'll get it to you right away. Okay. That service is usually, sometimes you can get a deal and get it for $1,000 a year, but it's generally $1,200 a year. Okay. So those services are available to you for free. Okay. Or because you're in productivity coaching. Any questions on either of those services? Okay, perfect. While I've got everyone, I probably have more people on this call than I think we ever have. So I just want to applaud you for attending this morning. Today's going to be a fun day. Okay, once you get stretched, it's like a rubber band. When you stretch the rubber band, it can't unstretch itself, right? If you know you're capable of 35 contacts or 73 contacts, then doing 5 will seem like nothing. Okay, let's have some fun today. Okay, let's speak with compassion. Let's speak with curiosity, right? Let's remember that there's still 40-something thousand people getting COVID every day, right? People have lost their family members. People are scared to go out in public, right? People are nervous about the election. People are nervous about civil unrest. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Come from service first and sales second. Service first, sales second. Okay? Spend today asking more questions than you typically ask. Okay? Now, there are intake sheets, seller intake sheets, and buyer intake sheets in the Google Drive. The intake sheets for seller is very similar. The pre-qualification script that we went over yesterday is actually probably a little bit better of a version of the intake sheet for sellers. And you can go to the buyer intake sheet, print out a couple of those in case you need to intake a new client, right? Or you need to add somebody new to the database, right? So it'll prompt you to ask the questions about, what's your motivation for selling? What's your motivation for buying? Why is that important to you? When are you hoping to do that by, right? What happens to your life when you achieve this goal? What are you looking for when you go and hire and interview agents, right? Tell me a little bit about the great experiences you've had with real estate agents. Tell me a little bit about the poor real estate or the experience you've had with real estate agents. You're essentially asking them, remember, how can I best serve you, right? So if, for example, they had an agent who previously never answered their phone and that pisses them off, then you need to answer your phone with this candidate, right? Or if they love to communicate by email and you only want to communicate by text, it ain't gonna work, right? So figure out, how can I serve this person? Okay, people are dying to have conversations with adults now. Okay, they've been cooped up in their house, dealing with their spouse and their kids. Okay, there's generally a couple of things that are going to happen. Either they've realized the house is too big, they've realized the house is too small, or they realize their roommate, they don't want to be roommates with them anymore, right? Or maybe they love their house, they just need to improve it in some way. Maybe they're going to add on to it, or they're going to update it. So they may need help with a vendor list. Don't forget that we have vendor relationships, right? Hey, Mr. Smith, if there's ever any project you want to do around the house and you need a name of a provider that, you know, that I can recommend, I'd be happy to share that information with you. Would that be helpful? Right? By the way, you don't want to send them a list of 50 names and companies. You want them to call you every time that they have a need. See what I'm saying? Because when they have a need, hey, we're thinking about adding a bathroom onto the house. You don't want them to do that without them speaking to their main real estate advisor, right? You want to be the go-to person for every real estate related question they have, whether you're going to get it paid directly or not. Does that make sense? I'm kind of giving you just a lot of like ideas on where your conversations today could go. Is this helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Okay.
I have one last concern, Bill.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the number one thing that we should say if we're talking to someone, just to make sure they're not speaking with another realtor, like if we're in a message or even over the phone, just to make sure we're not breaking that boundary if they are working with someone?
I mean, if they happen to have their home listed, you just end the conversation as quickly as you can. If they happen to say, hey, I just happened to sign a buyer brokerage agreement with a different agent, you just end the conversation as fast as you can, right? Don't cross the line. More than likely, you're not going to encounter that. Now, don't worry so much about whether they know another realtor. They definitely do know another realtor. You're going to outserve them, right? You're going to impress them. You're going to be more professional than that other realtor. You're going to ask better questions than that other realtor, right? Like they say, when you're born, you get a birth certificate and a list of people that sell homes, right? I mean, everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody. Many of them are friends with them. That doesn't mean they're going to choose to work with an agent next time they have a deal if there's a better resource in their world. Our goal is to become that better resource. Okay. All right. So while I've got everyone on the phone, I just want to give recognize two things. Again, number one is this group, since the beginning of COVID, or really since the beginning of the program, which happened to be like a week apart, we've closed 101 units, okay, for over $22 million worth of sales. So congratulations. I know you guys are working hard, and I appreciate that. Thank you. The second thing is I'm going to give a plug for the book club, the Social Equity Book Club on how to be an anti-racist. That is today from 4 to 5. Obviously, you're an adult. You can make a decision on whether you want to attend that today. But I would highly recommend that you do that, okay? And the last thing that I want to talk about is the fourth quarter GPS that we've been going over. So this is a list. I've sent it out in a few emails now, and it's in the Google Drive. That is essentially a list of the foundational pieces of your real estate business. So it has things like your accountability partner, your social media plan, your outside of real estate goals, your closing goals, your database goals, your command goals, your listing presentation, your buyer presentation. It is simply a reminder of all the things that you really should have in place as quickly as possible. And I'm just asking that you fill that document out and hold yourself to a standard of, I will finish the buyer presentation by X date, right? I will practice my scripts for X minutes, every day or every other day or whatever it is. Because as we've said before, there are a lot of agents out there. And every day when you go to bed, you should ask yourself two questions. Number one is, am I a smarter, more professional, more educated realtor than I was when I woke up today? Okay. Am I getting better every single day? And secondly, is there anyone new in the universe that knows that I'm a real estate agent that I have a chance of helping? Right? So those are the biggest threshold. Those are the biggest success markers for your business. Okay. So I'm just going to encourage you to read through that document, complete it, and then start to take action, which probably means, by the way, for the next couple of months, you probably need some time in your calendar, probably close to every day, that you might call project time. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, I work on my buyer presentation for 10 minutes a day because I will get a call eventually that says, hey, come and talk to me about being a buyer. And you do not want the stress of putting it all together then. You need to use that time to get your head right and to prepare for the market and to prepare for that call or that appointment. Does that make sense? So let's prepare ahead of time. All right. So my request of you is to turn on your video if you're comfortable, turn off your sound, and let's support each other today. Let's share our successes. If you have any issues or questions, hey, somebody said this on the phone, I don't know how to handle it. Hey, how do I look this up? Hey, I just booked an appointment. Let's support each other today and help one another today. I will be, I have the room open all day long, okay? Y'all have an awesome day. Let's go meet some people. Let's go help some people. And if you need me for anything, let me know. If we have a coaching session today, you can just reach outside. I think there's just one or two of you. We can either do it over the telephone or we can reschedule. Okay. All right, guys. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you for Marie for putting that in the chat. I appreciate that.
No problem.